Another dating video tip for ladies. I know what it's like that we want to open our hearts and be loving and love. Like it just feels so good. So, you kind of start to question, are we bad for wanting to love and be loved? Like, isn't that the reason we're on earth is to love and be loved? And just watching a bunch of catfishing videos yesterday, I kind of start getting really intrigued by this whole thing. It's not even just on the dating apps that these women are catfish. There was one lady who had just lost her husband. She was probably in her 60s, and she was online in a grieving group. And some guy started talking with her and being really understanding and saying, I know how you feel, and just kind of sucked her in her most vulnerable state. I've been at times in my life where I was really vulnerable, and what I needed was support, not someone to come along and hurt me, but that is out there. That's out there. And so how does that jive with we're here to love? So I have two answers for it. I would love to know what you think. First of all, is that we have to love ourselves first and most, and let other people have the overflow of the love we have for ourselves. We cannot abandon ourselves emotionally and love someone more than we love ourselves. And to do that, I think we have to use our mind. We cannot on this earth just use our hearts, because there are people who will hurt us and we can get hurt. We also have to use our minds. We have to use our minds and our heart. So our mind is used for discernment. Discernment. Seeing if this person is right for us, using some discernment, using some judgment. And another tip I really have is you focus on giving instead of getting. I think a very safe place, usually a safe way to be with someone where you don't have to make yourself needy or let yourself get needy. Like, it's okay to be needy sometimes when you're in a relationship, but before that, I like to focus on giving, and that doesn't mean I'm doing things for the guy. It means that emotionally I'm giving and I'm not looking for something from someone. I think when we're in vulnerable times of our life, we have to lean on trusted people, trusted friends, and maybe trusted therapists, not on strangers. Not on strangers. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. Unfortunately, it's so sad. I think actually, the reason I got so interested in doing coaching and helping people with their emotions is because emotions are like the most difficult thing to deal with. They can be so unpleasant, especially heartbreak and disappointment and longing for someone who doesn't want us. That feeling of longing for someone who doesn't want me is the reason I became a coach, to help people, because I didn't know how to help myself and no one knew how to help me. It wasn't until I started learning about trauma bonds I really got to the bottom of it. But like, it's so important that we discern and not open our hearts and start to rely on someone emotionally that we barely know. It's really important to just gradually let someone in. So for that, we have to be emotionally solid and love ourselves first and be selfish. A lot of us were raised to be kind, to be sweet, and to care about people's emotions. I'm going to tell you this. Like when I meet a guy online, or if I meet a gentleman, whatever's going on in his life, the problems he has, any problems he has, I don't give a shit. You have to have that attitude, like, I don't give a shit. I don't care that your wife just died, your kid just died, you're broke, you have a health problem. I don't give a shit. Do not come to me with your pity party, your neediness, and whatever. Those are manipulation tactics that these women abandon themselves, these caretaker women, caretakers, abandon themselves and like, oh, I can fix you, I can heal you, I can nurture you. And some very wounded women will go for these men who have all these problems because that's all they know is love means you need me. Love means I fix you. Love means that I abandon myself and just take care of you. You can't do that. You have to love yourself first. And when you meet someone, you have to remember, you're never responsible for how someone feels. You're just responsible for how you treat them. And in a relationship, I think we're also responsible for nurturing the relationship. But when we meet someone, we're not responsible for that. An adult has to take responsibility for themselves. So I'm not saying don't date someone with problems, but be careful if they're using their problems to try to get something from you, like some kind of pity or obligation, making you feel obligated or you feel obligated. And that's why I would say just pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel pity for this person? Do you feel obligated to take care of this person in some way or fix them or help them? That is not a partnership. That's some kind of a pity party, unhealthy thing. You have to love yourself first. You have to be able to say no to people, disagree with people, and focus on giving, because in giving, you're not looking for someone to rescue you. When I say giving, it's just a mindset of emotionally, I'm giving to you. I'm going to kind of hear what you say, but I'm not going to let you in too much because, I don't really know you. We have to use a lot of discernment. And yeah, that's what I think. I'm just thinking about some people that are even more vulnerable than I was. Now I was not that vulnerable that a man would take advantage of me or ask me for money, but I was vulnerable to where I made a video about that yesterday, like a guy before I really got to know him, because I assumed that everyone was like me, like everybody's honest and has good intentions and is consistent and keeps their word, and not everyone is like that. So you have to use your brain, not just your heart. We have a brain. We're supposed to use it to discern, get to know someone gradually. And I would give you this one tip. If you fall for people too fast, you're abandoning yourself, you have some emotional work to do. Kind of think like, okay, what does this remind me of? I'm falling for this person. I want to do things for this person. Notice that little child in you that's like looking for mommy or daddy's attention, or look for the wounded child or the adaptive child in you that's come up with a coping strategy to get that love or attention. And heal those parts so you can come from your adult self. And mature adults get to know each other gradually over time. So I kind of would say do the opposite of what the love bombers do. In love bombing, people portray this false front that as it shrivels away, their nasty side comes out. They become abusive and controlling. I like to start the opposite way of very slowly and gradually opening more and more of my heart and my beauty to the person, the people that I know. And you gradually get more and more access to me. Like, be authentic from the beginning and let people have gradual access to you. Don't do too much for people too fast. You know, use your brain, use your discernment, and this is going to require a lot of inner work. That's why I recommend that you look up these terms: trauma bond, inner child healing, attachment wounds, anxious attachment, neediness, all those things have to be healed so that you can take care of yourself financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Like, you're a solid person who's like, I don't need a man, but I have room in my life for one. I was in that way for a while. I was so needy, and I was very sexually needy because I was so depleted in my marriage. I was very sexually needy, and that caused me a lot of pain. That caused me a lot of pain. That caused me a lot of pain. Then I would start feeling sorry for myself. I would cry. I was feeling like a victim. I would chase guys that wanted nothing to do with me. Like, not chase them super bad. I had some good self-control. Like, I never went to a guy's house unannounced or over-texted him. I over-texted a little bit, but not like text after text. Not like crazy, but it would be like 3 texts from me and nothing from him, or 1 from him, or I would text twice or 3 times and I would never hear from him. And I would be so distraught. It was really internal to me, huge distraught. And I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I was just vulnerable. I didn't understand that men are different from women. I didn't understand that I had to use discernment. I was just so anxious to continue the love relationship I had with my husband. I was so anxious to feel that again and be in that kind of relationship again, because I was really in love with my husband when I left him. It was just the pain got too bad. The last 2 years with him, I was really in love with him. It was just the last 2.5 years, I would say, that my heart was really broken. And then finally it was so broken that I left him. But that kind of relationship part, a lot of what we had was so enjoyable. And I really wanted that so badly that I was willing to just be too open and too porous with anyone. And so the discernment part is so important for people like me. Discernment, like, interview these guys. Do they deserve you? Not that they're worse or better than you. Not that they're worse. I'm not saying that they're worse, but do they deserve your love and attention, being close in your life? Do they deserve you? How do you feel around them? Are you a solid person that if he's upset with you, you can handle it and lean in and be relational and not reactive? You know, it takes a lot of skill that none of us learned growing up to be in a healthy relationship. And what I want for all of us is healthy relationships are fulfilling, and that each relationship we get into is healthier than the ones we had, and that we can keep growing in the relationships that we have now, because we can. I really like the books by Terry Real, the therapist and author from Boston, who has great advice on couples and being relational. And relationships are hard, you guys. It's hard to stay in love and keep having great sex. Like, it's pretty rare. It requires that we lean in, that we're relational, that we are able to let go of our wounds and disappointments, that we're more committed to the relationship than to being right, that we honor our partner's feelings, that we let them be. Like, it takes a lot of skills. And I don't have a relationship now, but I read these books and I practice these skills when I can with people that I meet now, so that when I do get into a relationship, it's going to be a lot better than the one I had before. So that's all I got. And thank you for watching my video.